Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by the head baseball coach at Oregon. That, of course, is Mark Wasikowski. How's it going?
Going great. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. And another season of college baseball is upon us. Another season of Oregon baseball is upon us as well. Talk about how things are going so far for the Ducks.
So far, so good. I mean, we like our club a lot. It looks like a really physical group that's got some veterans to it, to where they should be, battle tested and ready to contribute right away. And, the energy in camp is great. We're just kind of jumping at the bit for the 27th.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about some of the guys that are coming back. Kind of take me around the diamond and what's it going to look like out there for you guys?
Yeah, a lot of dust needs to settle, so this is probably pretty premature. It's not one of those years where we have, a guy per each spot and then, a big drop off. As a matter of fact, the depth on the team, credit to the assistant coaches that have really done a great job in recruiting this club. Coach Martyr and Coach Angier, they've really put some depth out there. And so, as you move around the diamond, I mean, for example, at the catching position, last year we had two contributors at the catching position that were really, really good, and Bennett Thompson and Josiah Cromwick. And then add to the mix the healthy Anson Arrows, and off of a redshirt season, Chase Meggers, who's a redshirt freshman left-handed hitting catcher. That all four of those guys are really, really good. And probably our fifth catcher, believe it or not, is Sabine Ceballos, who was drafted as a catcher last year by the Angels and offered a lot of money to go out and play. Sabine probably has he's a little bit better in the field at a few other places, but that's how talented Sabine is. He's so good that he can even jump in and be in the catching mix. And so we're blessed there. Corner infield, Ceballos, third base. We've got a young freshman kind of breathing down his neck. Also an older guy named Drew Calley that's kind of an older COVID senior that's in our mix. He led our team in hitting a year ago before he got hurt the first week of Pac-12 play against Stanford, when Drew went down, and it hurt us quite a bit. But Drew Calley, Sabine Ceballos, also Dominic Hellman, a very talented freshman, kid that can really hit the baseball, and he's all he is a 6'6" shortstop. So he's in the mix for a lot of the infield spots as well, with how loud his bat's been. Working around the deal, Gavin Grant has done a tremendous job stepping in for Josh Kasevich last year. Josh was the highest drafted player, infielder on the entire West Coast last year, and Josh is gone now. Gavin Grant looks to step in for him, but we've got a couple other guys that are giving him competition, specifically Drew Calley and Dominic Hellman as well. And don't forget about a kid named Carter Garotti, Daniel Carter Garotti, who's a freshman shortstop from Southern California, left-handed hitter, wiry, lanky shortstop who's just got tremendous ability. So those guys are in a battle. That can spill over to second base as well. And add Riku Nishida, who was an all-star in the Cape Cod League, led the Cape Cod League in stolen bases this last year. Those guys are all in the mix there at second base. And at first base, you've got the incumbent Jacob Walsh, big, strong, physical left-handed hitter amongst some of these other guys. And that doesn't even talk about Drew Smith, who's a kid that's a freshman from Buchanan High School in California, Bakersfield area, Fresno area specifically, and he's a stud. The kid's a third baseman, first baseman, can play second. Really, really physical, had a great fall for us as well. Our outfield spots are interesting. You got Colby Shade locked in a real battle with a couple of guys in center field. Colby Shade is a junior, a very talented kid from Colorado, coming off of a shoulder injury, and so he didn't play this fall for us. Mason Lytle and Bryce Betcher both played this fall for us, and were very good. Bryce, member of the football team as well. Mason Lytle, a kid who transferred in from San Jack Community College with Sabine Ceballos, Tom Arrington's program there, and in the Houston area of Texas. And man, those two kids are really, really good players, Mason Lytle and Ceballos. So credit to Coach Arrington and his staff for getting those guys ready to come in here and play. Tanner Smith, he could break almost every record as our left fielder here at Oregon. He's returning. he's added quite a bit of significant strength for himself. He's looking to increase his power output. Looks like he will be. He's been swinging the bat very well. And in right field, we've got a couple of guys out there. Two transfers specifically. A kid named Owen Diodati, who's transferred in from Alabama. Big, strong, left-handed physical kid that has really come a long way. Coach Marter made a couple of adjustments with him during the fall, and it really paid dividends. I think he led our fall in home runs. And Towns King is a transfer from Samford University. He was an all-conference player out there. Another older kid that's had a tremendous amount of experience, portal guy, wanted to get back out west after he graduated. And man, now he's a graduate, and he's here at the University of Oregon. We're very blessed to have him. And that's leaving a few kids off. No disrespect to them, the Taft and Hensleys of the world that are super big and strong and physical that, are vying for time in the outfield as well. And our heart and soul guy that's really been a guy that has been in our program, Mr. Energy, Tyler Gannis, who's flexible and can play all over the field. We're blessed in the field. We got some guys.
Yeah, you do. What's catching going to look like? I'm not sure if what's that going to look like for you guys?
Hit on that a little bit to start with Cromwick and those cats behind the dish with Cromwick. It's a really good situation for us. Bennett Thompson, local kid from Southern Oregon. He's as tough as they come. Chase Meggers, a Northern California kid. Dad was a minor leaguer, or I think he might have gotten a sniff up in the big leagues too, but comes from bloodlines of big time baseball bloodlines. And then obviously Anson Arrows back there, tremendously talented redshirt freshman.
For sure. Let's go. I know we haven't discussed pitching yet. What's that going to look like?
A lot of talent, a lot of youth. There's kids out there that have great arms. A lot of them have great arms. On the mound, we've the bad news is we've had a setback with one of our guys, or two of our arms actually. Isaac Aon and RJ Gordon are tender right now and have been tender since they returned from basically the summertime. And so those guys are taking it slow, more or less, looking to hopefully have those guys back by the end of the season or middle of the season if possible. Nevertheless, there's other guys that have looked really elevated their game. Jace Stoffel is a guy that pitched as our third starter last year. And Jace is a guy that's really come on strong, right-hander from Southern Oregon. He and a kid named Austin Anderson come from the Roseburg area. Austin's new to our program, more of a relief type, but heavy ball, sinker, slider type guy. He and another transfer named Josh Mulleris, who came in as a graduate from San Francisco, the University of San Francisco. He's here now. He's an older kid, great arm, looks to be our closer. There's several freshmen that are really in the mix for a lot of pitching time. A couple of Canadians, Matthew Grabman and Turner Spiljarek, both are well known on Team Canada. Both have very, very good arms and a lot of pitchability, great sized kids that turn a lot of money down in the draft. We're lucky they're here as freshmen. Also another freshman named Leo Ullman, who came from Las Vegas area. And man, he's really opened our eyes. His brother's in the big leagues. He pitched for one of the nation's best coaches, Larry Lee at Cal Poly. That's where his brother pitched and who he pitched for. Now he's a major leaguer, and this kid's come in and he's just been tremendous. And so we're blessed with a lot of good young arms. Jackson Pace from Hollister, California, another Northern California kid out there in the Monterey Peninsula area. Great arm, sinker, slider type guy. And really one of the bright spots has also been a couple of our left-handed pitchers that we've got in here. Ian Umlaut, from a local kid from just the Portland area, has pitched very, very well. And then outside of that, Logan Olson, a guy from Minneapolis, freshman, big 6'5" left-hander, great arm. Got sidelined in high school with an injury. He's been in the rehab mode all fall long, and now he looks like he's primed and ready to go. Looks like he's going to help us an awful lot. And that doesn't mention a couple of the other guys that are back with our program that have tremendous value in terms of eating innings and being really, really good at what they do. Any role we put in, Matt Dallas, guy we put in several different roles. And man, the guy's got an electric arm, and he's done very, very well wherever we've used him.
Yeah. So going into this year, when you look at the conference and you look at your non-conference schedule, what is that? First off, let's talk about your non-conference because that'll come first. What do you guys? Who have you guys got in so far? What are you guys planning on for in the next?
Freaking tough, man. I mean, we're opening up at home, but we're opening up with a really tough and seasoned team in Xavier. Billy O'Connor, he runs his team around. He plays best teams every year in non-conference play, and this is another year where he's taking his team on the road, and he's not scared to play anybody. And I mean, Matt, of all the coaches in the country, I respect that guy a ton for just having the courage to go out and just stack his schedule with whoever he can find in tough environments. And you see consistently he schedules that way. That's week one for us. Then we go and we've got kind of an off week, I guess. The second week, we only go down to Santa Barbara and we play Santa Barbara with Coach Checkins' club. I mean, those guys are stacked every single year, and I say that sarcastically. An off weekend, I mean, my gosh, on the West Coast, Andrew's done just a fabulous job. One of the most sought after coaches, if not the most sought after coach on the West Coast. That guy's really, really good. Going down there to play his team. Traditionally, we play against Santa Barbara in home and home stuff every single year. And this should be another exciting year with a series at Santa Barbara, week 2. And then we come home and we play Brock Undrick's team, the University of San Diego club, coming back here this year. They clipped us last year. We played them 4 games. Boy, they put it to us 3 of the 4 games last year to open down at San Diego last year with a really good club, highly drafted players, and a heck of a team that he had last year. And now they're coming back up here to return the trip. Then we start conference play and we go through that. So we're hoping that our non-conference schedule, as hard as it is, gets us prepared for a tough Pac-12 schedule.
What is the Pac-12 gonna? Obviously, the Pac-12 is gonna be packed as well. What's the league gonna look like this year, you think?
Anybody's guess. Coach Asker, you'd have to think that his club's probably going to be a preseason favorite. Coming out of Omaha and doing the great things, and I think they got probably the player of the year and one of the guys that was up for pitcher of the year returning. And so they'll probably have a lot of votes for preseason number 1 in the league. They've done a tremendous job. Coach Savage had that young group of pitchers last year and position players as well that now with a veteran, left side of that infield with Karros at third. Boy, that's a heck of a left side with him and Schreier on that left side of the infield for the Bruins, and a lot of good pitching depth that Coach Savage traditionally has. They're going to be really good. The rest of the league, we'll see. I thought Brian Green's club at Washington State, Coach Green is a tremendous coach, and I really felt like his club was on the verge of doing great things. And I know the word on the street is they have tremendous pitching depth, and they're on the come. Also, there's an arm at Washington, supposedly first-year coach up there, Jason Kelly. He's well-traveled. The guy knows what he's doing up there at Washington, and he's got a heck of an arm. Supposedly some guy transferred in from a small school, and he's throwing rockets at almost 100. And the Beavers are always good. Coach Henderson's club last year at Utah was definitely on the up and come. And you got the 2 guys that were coming out of pro ball that have their alma maters going down in the desert. So, let alone all that kind of stuff. Then Coach Stankiewicz, who's our one of the best coaches in college baseball, has now took over at SC. It's made the league even tougher than it already is. And so it's going to be a tough Pac-12 schedule, like it always is.
All right. And what's the biggest thing that you preach to your guys about, getting to where you need to go? What's the biggest thing that you guys need to do throughout the season? Because it's a long season, but not really.
Yeah, the process for us is a big deal. That's what our program's built around. And so it starts and ends with the process, with compete in the middle of that process. And so wanting to compete in our program is a big deal. We're known at Oregon for a lot of the glitz and glamour because the facilities are the best in the country, and they are. And so we don't back down from that. Nike backs our operating budget, and our university probably more than everybody out there, but they do great work for the entire country and even professional sports. As we all know, they're the number one, they're the number 1 sports apparel company in the world. So to have them next to the O is really a thing of great pride for us. But Phil Knight, the founder of that company, he didn't just all of a sudden become rich or was rich, and he was given money when he was a kid and given money to start this company. The dude did it with blood, sweat, and tears with it, and his hard work is something we try to model our program with. And so, although the facilities are glitz and glamour and really fancy, it doesn't mean that we're not showing up to work and rolling our sleeves up and trying to do it with the toughest mindset that anybody has in the country, and rolling up our sleeves and getting after it. It starts in the weight room. So, the process is how we go about it. That means a great deal to our people in our locker room. And that's what we build our program on, is to try to match Nike's excellence in the world.
All right. Well, Waz, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck this season for the Ducks.
Appreciate it, Casey. Thanks a bunch. Have a great year. Go Ducks.